It's time to feel the rage. Welcome to Film Rage, where we talk movies in theater, streaming, and classic films as well. Directors and actors beware, as you cannot hide from the rage. My name is Bryce, and I'm part of the Film Rage crew, which also includes Jim. Hey, Jim.
Hey, Bryce.
And Murray, who I'm pretty sure could climb the pole in the film Fall in half the time it took those two ladies.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mur?
Probably not.
Hey, I think you could have.
I think so too.
They took a long time, Merman.
Well, it wouldn't take me an hour and a half. That's for sure.
There you go. So with the introductions out of the way, let's rage on.
Oh, yeah. I've seen Murray climb poles, and he can do it pretty damn fast. Well, thanks to all who've been supporting us. If you love our independent podcast, please like, subscribe, and give us a 5-star rating on your listening platform. Or, even better for us, support us and join the Film Rage community by joining our membership at buymeacoffee.com/FilmRageYYC. If you cannot commit to a membership, you can still buy us a movie rental and dare us to see a terrible movie that played in cinemas, and we will watch it and we will hopefully hate it. Now, let's get to raging. But first, here's a word from our sponsor.
Hey, Bryce, what are you doing tonight?
I'm going to my favorite cinema, Canyon Meadows Cinema, to see the best second-run movies at the best price.
What? How inexpensive are they?
Regular price is $5, $5.
Regular price is $5. Makes me hope they also serve pizza.
They do, plus a lot of other great food choices. Plus, I'm planning my office Christmas party there. They can host a plethora of options for any get-together. Gaming, movie, drag show.
Drag show? Now I know where I'm planning my next party.
Hey, maybe you think there's a Liam Neeson or a superhero movie planned?
I hope not. But maybe there'll be a great independent documentary.
Sure. Call CMC at 403-670-5444 to book a special event or go online at canyonmeadowscinema.ca.
You know what I think our listeners are most interested in knowing? Above anything else, did Murray see Thor one more time in cinemas this week?
I did not.
Are you sure?
Mostly because I've grown to hate Guns N' Roses more than I don't want to ever hear their songs ever again. You get to run the radio 10 times a day.
But you know what?
Guns N' Roses.
He did bring his Thorgasm glass. For those listening, the sweet, dulcet, creamy voice that is the Merman is quenched by Thor's glass. It's almost like drinking from Thor himself.
Technically, it's a tumbler.
Oh, drinking from Thor's tumbler.
The mighty Thor's.
Oh, okay, that's better. Much better. All right, well, what did we see in theaters if we didn't all see Thor again?
I don't remember.
Well, Jim, we saw Bodies.
3 bodies?
Yeah. Bodies was conceptually adequate, as a group of friends are trapped in a house together as a storm rages outside. One of them dies and the rest try to find the killer. As mistrust and jealousy bubble to the surface, this had the makings of a decent entry in the slasher genre. The major problem here is I didn't care about any of them. I didn't care enough to want to see them survive, and I didn't care enough to want to see them die either. I truly did not care. The other major problem I had was not knowing what the heck was going on for much of it, as it takes place mostly in the dark. And it was shot poorly. As your guess is as good as mine as what was taking place in these extended shots of nothing. It was not, however, all bad, as Pete Davidson was amusing when he was on screen. And I kind of enjoyed Rachel Sennott as Alice, a podcaster without a clue.
What?
She was actually really quite good. But other than these characters, this was a mess of a movie with little to offer to the genre. I was hoping that this could re-energize the slasher flick, but it instead is just a forgettable misfire. And, worst of all, I was bored to tears watching this. I almost fell asleep.
I think you did, actually, because I poked you once.
Nah,
Remember when I poked you in the movie theater?
I remember being poked, and I believe I was was already awake.
Did you enjoy it when I poked you in the movie theater?
You poked me in the wrong place.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
This was not good. This was a rage.
Who would have thought a movie about bodies, and more bodies would be a rage?
Who would have thought?
So I want to say Pete Davidson, as you mentioned, was the best thing in this movie.
Absolutely.
And that's all.
That's all that needs to be said.
That's pretty much all that needs to be said, other than why is Pete Davidson not in more movies?
Good movies would be good.
Yeah, good. Why doesn't he pick good movies? Okay. Yeah. This was something that could have been good, as Bryce has already mentioned.
It really could have been.
With a murder mystery of who done it, but instead it was super, super painful to watch 20-somethings get in bitch fights and run around in a mansion with no lights on for an hour. The funniest thing was the closing song, which made me laugh probably for a solid 5 minutes, was the song I'm Bored. Because that's what this movie made me also. Too many times I was shaking my head saying, what the fuck is actually happening in this movie? Things would go from dumb to stupid at pretty much at the stop of a hat or a drop of a hat. What's that expression? Something with a hat happens, and it would just all of a sudden, like, nothing would make sense, and you'd be just like, okay, what just happened? Granted, everyone was drunk and stoned, but no, this film did not make any real sense. There was bodies.
There were
bodies.
Yeah.
Bodies.
True.
But this film was a rage.
Yes.
And I have some unpacking, but let's hear what the Mur had to say.
What say you, Merman?
Yeah, Mur. What'd you think about bodies?
First of
bodies. Bodies.
I curse on both your houses for making me watch this.
We didn't make you. You chose to watch it.
It was on the list.
Yeah, but you don't always watch what's on the list.
Yeah,
so
well,
see the other thing on the list.
Maybe I'll stop that then. You know how you're watching a horror film?
Yes.
And 15 minutes into it, you hate every single character?
Yes.
And you want to see them all dead?
Yes.
No, just me?
No, yes, me too.
I loathe the entire cast of this crap fest.
I like 2 of them.
Thankfully, the most annoying character dies first. And I will leave it at that.
Oh, yeah, we don't want to say who it was.
No, because I don't give away spoilers.
Suffice to say.
About the only one I liked was Lee Pace. He of the Pushing Daisies and Ronan from the MCU fame. Unfortunately, they cast him with a bunch of children. Like, he's probably pushing 40, and these are all like early 20-somethings.
It was babies.
And he's like somebody's boyfriend that they met 2 weeks earlier, like whatever. Apparently, they call these people Gen Z. I looked it up, which makes them even more annoying than millennials. I literally lost interest the more I heard these superficial, obnoxious girls talk. The movie was clearly not made for me, and the ending was stupid.
Super stupid.
I usually love A24 stuff. This was a huge rage.
So, you know what? It's funny you say that, because I usually like A24 as well.
They make good stuff.
Half a dozen of their films this year, and they are all usually pretty good. But this was a huge.
This had the makings of a Blumhouse film.
Yeah,
but it was
they needed a better cast.
Because didn't we actually talk not that long ago about the fact that Blumhouse seems to be the only one releasing horror movies now?
Yes,
but
that's true.
maybe they should stick with the only ones to make horror movies.
No, A24 makes quite a few of them too. But
yeah, I guess. So, like you mentioned, a really good point, Marie, was that every single character in this was unlikable. Yeah, so it's like hard to connect with any one of them when every single one of the characters are so unlikable.
They are.
You just go, okay, so someone's gonna die, and do I really care which one dies? Like it's you want to at least create one character that people go, yeah, we want to root for them. But all of them, they were all deplorable.
Yeah. And as you pointed out, most of the movie was shot with cell phone flashlights.
Yeah.
Like, this is a mansion. Supposedly the people are rich who live there. Like, most people have emergency power of some kind, and those lights that come on whenever the power goes out. Or, here's an idea, freaking candles.
Good point, Mur.
Like, they give more light than the damn cell phones do.
Yeah.
Like, they could have done anything else so it wouldn't be as dark.
And the whole thing of, when you're watching like a slasher film, part of the fun is somehow by accident they get separated, but after the first person dies, it's kind of like, why would you guys all go off being stupid?
Yeah, why would you go off
like
alone?
Everything about it was just so dumb. Like, and how quickly they would switch allegiances amongst each other. It was kind of like, okay, that didn't even make sense from the scene before it.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right? Bryce is falling asleep now talking about it.
Yeah,
it's like,
I don't know why we're still talking about this movie. It's terrible. Let's just leave it at that. What are we unpacking, Jim? We're unpacking that it was poopy. So it's poopy. Let's move on. Is there something else you really want to bring up? Because if there is, go ahead. But if there isn't, talking this long-winded over and over again, saying how poopy the movie is, it was poopy.
It just makes it more poopy?
It's just poopy. So let's move on.
It's just
And it also
what was it?
Rage! Rage! Rage!
Nice.
What else did we see?
We
It had to be better than that, right?
Could it be? I don't know. We saw Fall, or Debbie Does Danger Film. Is kind of what I'm thinking.
See, that's what I would have seen that.
Debbie Does Danger, right?
If you would have called it that, I would have gone to it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, they were climbing on a giant pole, so maybe.
Okay, for someone who hasn't watched this, explain to me, what the hell were they doing up there in the first place, and why was nobody around to rescue them?
They were just climbing.
Well, they were just climbing. Now, listen to this,
just
though,
to do
Murray.
it.
Yep.
This,
For fun.
yeah,
So they're idiots then.
Well, for fun and because she's got like a...
she's an
does one of those
influencer.
that's
She's an
what
influencer who does.
Yeah, enough said.
Debbie Does Danger. That's
Enough
really
said.
what she
Twitter,
does.
Instagram morons. Yeah.
So the monster that is the giant tower is like every other Castaway monster movie. Giant shark on a shipwreck, boat, giant octopus on a deep dive, or any other kind of monster trying to kill our heroines. There are really a few suspenseful scenes in this, and the scenery in this is amazing. And especially knowing that the two leads in this film this on a practical effect instead of on green screens makes it just that much more intriguing. But the story, the dialogue, the physics, and the fact that one of the main characters basically hadn't done anything but drink and curl up in a ball for a year, and we are to believe is strong enough to do anything, let alone climb 2,000 feet straight up, and everything else they do throughout this movie makes this hard to believe at the best of times. Like, they were basically a throwback to severe mental illness.
What they needed to do
was
a training montage before they...
Exactly. That was what was missing from this, a training montage. Okay, well, you know what? I've been drunk straight for 1 solid year, and I have done nothing but roll around on my couch.
Yes,
let's
delay the trip
for
weeks.
At least a couple of
maybe
weeks.
a couple of months.
Yeah, the training of her walking to the car to drive to this place 5 hours away wasn't enough training for her to be able to climb this.
I think a training montage may have
It
made
could
it
have
so much better.
It could have made it better. The 7 minutes of great suspense and cinematography on this could not make up for the fact that, again, every character in this movie are not anyone you want to root for. You just can't feel for them because they are stupid and got dead or caught because they're so stupid. Watch Free Solo or The Dawn Wall, or for a real unforgiving monster, just watch Jaws. This film was so formula, too long, too unbelievable, and too much rage. High rage. But this giant monster was not unique or suspenseful. or the people likable enough to even come close to making this anything but a rage. And I do have unpacking, and we will be talking more about this. Now, what did you think?
Ditto.
Okay, done. Now let's talk about what. No.
Good enough.
Fall. Not unlike the previous movie we talked about, I as well did not care about anyone in this movie.
Right?
Although this time, at the risk of spoiling the ending, I would have liked to see everyone die. Pathetic characters with a dumb, needless twist between the two leads, along with some convenient occurrences that were annoying, make for a painful experience. Fall had an okay opening sequence to set it up, followed by a lot of nothing. And most importantly, I did not buy much of this. I did not buy that this lead character would take this trip. I did not buy that she would be in the condition to do what she needed to do.
Yeah, anything.
In this
There's
trip.
no possible way.
I didn't buy the friendship or the father-daughter relationship or the fact that they climbed this tower without doing any research or that they could not. This was one I didn't buy that, she could fight off a vulture as weak as she was and that she could rip it apart and eat it with her hands. At the very least, they should have shown her gnawing at it with her teeth. Like she just reached in and was pulling
Plucking
stuff out.
feathers,
I don't understand. I could maybe buy her ripping it open with her teeth. Maybe. But even that would be a stretch.
But she didn't do that.
Also, they showed a body bag towards the end that seemed to have a body in it. From that height, there would be no body left. Just a gooey splatter, which would be left. Which also makes me think that the device that she put in her probably would not have survived the fall either.
Oh, yeah, but... Yeah, oh, you're right. Because she was right. Okay, yeah.
But in their version, where the body doesn't just go splatter, which it would have from that height. There'd be nothing but a bloody stain.
Yeah.
But in their version, apparently there was a body to put in the body bag. So I suppose that device
Maybe we missed the shovel scene.
would have, which I don't understand how that all works anyways. Is that how it works? You don't have any reception, then you get to where there is reception and then stuff automatically happens?
Yeah, you can be out of signal range because you're too high. And then when you get closer to the signal, but I thought that was like a tower, but yeah.
Anyways, I hated this film. It was poorly written, poorly acted, poorly executed, and it wasted my time. This was a towering rage.
A towering pole rage.
That must have been an awesome night for you guys.
You know what? It was kind of fun.
It was all right.
The two of us together seeing movies that we raged to.
Bodies, fall double feature.
Okay, now comes the tough question.
Yes.
What was better? Or what was worse? Either one. I don't care.
I got no joy from Fall, like none.
Yeah.
I know you saw some suspense.
I saw
there.
7 minutes of okay.
I guess the opening sequence wasn't the worst.
And the actual scene, the fact that that's real scenery, was impressive.
And then Bodies had Pete
Davidson. So
it's a dead heat. I can't choose.
I'm choosing Bodies was marginally better because of Pete Davidson.
All right. I say.
But unpacking. So I had, when you were talking about some of the things you didn't believe in, the one that got me the most, they ended up getting the drone. So we're gonna be getting some spoilers here a little bit. They get the drone, and what do? They put a note on it.
Yeah.
And then they fly it to the actual location where there's people at. Now, because they had phones they were throwing down to try and get signal. Why would they not have just attached the phone to the drone?
That would have been smart.
And then they flew it down and it would have sent the message.
That would have been so smart.
Right?
Why didn't they do that?
Like they were trying to show them being so intelligent about this thing. They should have put the phone in the drone and then just float the drone down to the ground so it would send.
And then they could actually bring it back up to see if it actually sent.
And then send it further out. And then brought it right back up. Or gone and ordered a sandwich and then brought it back up. Or
they should have sent the drone for some takeout.
They should have. There was like.
And then when the takeout came, they could have said, "Hey, dude, could you call someone? We're stuck up here."
Yeah.
First, put the food on the drone so we can eat.
Exactly. We need the takeout first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't believe how many unlikable people we like. And maybe I don't want this to make it sound like I'm anti-Zen G or G-Zen, like Murray has thrown out there. But it's like, why are they making characters that you don't want to root for?
I don't know.
Maybe we're just getting old.
Well, that's true. Everybody's getting old.
But I mean, this movie you're talking about, the main characters were social influencers. Like that's
one
of them
was, and the other one,
that's their career.
Yeah. And the other one was just
they don't
pathetic.
contribute anything to society. They don't have a job. They don't create anything.
they get paid to do social media.
Yeah, but it's not a real job. It shouldn't be a real job.
Apparently it is.
It
They
shouldn't
make
She
be
made
money.
good money,
Yeah.
But anyway.
but they weren't likable. So
Yeah, so why would you give a crap
we
about
see two movies. Well, maybe that was the point. All right. Well, let's see. Talk about a movie that potentially might not make this
Doesn't
entire
suck.
episode. What do they call
rage
that?
all the time.
When you're do one of your baseball analogies. Are we going to be batting 1,000 here? Is that the right term?
If it's perfect, then
I
yeah, it would
believe
be
he's-
batting 1,000 as far as with rages. Yeah.
Okay.
He may be referring to a no-hitter, but
No. I mean, he got it right. It's like a batting 1,000 for the levels of rage. Yeah.
Or else all three movies were no-hitters.
So you missed your cue though, Mur, because for fall.
Well, yeah, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, but it's still a unanimous. There we go. Still unanimous.
That had to be all three of us.
No, it has to be unanimous.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
It
All
was
right.
everybody that watched it.
Yeah, well, on Friday, in the 30-degree heat, we all met up at our
We did.
local art house and saw My Old School.
Yes.
In 1993, 16-year-old Brandon Lee, not the guy who died, enrolled in a Scottish secondary prep school. What followed over the next 2 years became the stuff of legend. And I'm reading the description exactly, because that's pretty much all it's about. This was a documentary,
Yay.
and Alan Cumming was not the star.
What?
I felt like the kids that this guy went to school with. I was duped and tricked into thinking this was a dramatic film and I'd be seeing Alan Cumming act.
You didn't watch the trailer.
He was acting.
basically
Yeah.
He's acting his ass
He
off.
was a
Face off, too.
glorified narrator. They didn't even use his voice.
No.
He lip synced to the original audio interviews.
Which he did
Genius.
amazing.
Not that
Yeah.
he didn't do a good job, but they probably could have
Amazing.
paid someone a lot less to do that job.
But why would they?
Just saying. They didn't need to spend all that money. I mean, the story was interesting enough. I kept waiting for the big reveal, the huge secret of the film. When they finally told the story, I was like, eh? I'm sure this was a huge scandal back in the day. Mostly was just a sad tale of a loser who tried to cheat the system. It would have been a rage if not for Alan Cumming. As it was a yawn-inducing meh.
Okay. I love it.
Okay.
Now, how was your old school?
My Old School was a unique documentary with a unique subject. It is a fascinating story of mother and son and the lengths they would go to achieve their goals. It goes from amusing to bizarre to creepy to ridiculous to even more creepy to even more bizarre. And along the way, we are treated to a great performance in a documentary by Alan Cumming, even though he does not utter a word. The balance of interviews, animation, news footage, and audio from the subject Brandon Lee, as lip-synced by Alan Cumming, provided a unique documentary unlike any I have seen before. It is a fascinating story that had me engrossed in the unbelievable true story. This film sets up the audience perfectly, just as Brandon's classmates were set up. You are really involved in the evolution of the story as layer upon layer are revealed. Well-made doc, although, and I know Jim will agree, perhaps a bit too long. But I will let Jim expand upon how long a doc should be, as put forward by our friend Oscar Harding. He had a very good point. The length sure isn't 1 hour and 44 minutes that this ended up being. If this was a little shorter, it could have been a lot more effective. Still, it was a very interesting and unforgettable, well-told tale that was about 25 minutes too long. It was very good. It was meh.
Yeah. This is going in a different direction. Because already we're not batting 1,000. We're batting what? You got to throw the hyperbolas and algorithms in here.
6.
So we may be batting Satan today?
We'll be batting evil.
Okay. Well, you
Pure
never know.
evil.
Maybe. The trailer for this film
I'm pretty sure we're batting evil.
really made me want to see this.
Yes.
Seeing Alan Cumming lip sync the voice of Brandon Lee, a.k.a. Brian McKinnon, is enough to want you to run to the cinemas to see this doc. The doc was creative and original, how it used historical footage, animation, and interviews to tell an ultimate tale
heard
of
this
identity
before.
theft and mystery.
Yes.
The doc had quite a few funny bits with the old classmates of Brian/Brandon, and for the most part did move along at a pretty good pace.
Yep.
But talking heads docs, no matter how creative they have to be, and how to know when they have gone over a part either too many times or not dragging things out, especially when viewed in cinema when it's 32 degrees Celsius and our cinema had no air conditioning.
That didn't help.
No. Like, there was points they had to make 2 or 3 times. I'm not sure if it was because they were thinking we didn't get those points.
Yeah, they kept
or
replaying
if-
the same interviews.
Yeah, it was kind of like, okay, we get that. Like, you can move past that. So, as I've said before with documentaries, I had a $20 in ones on the table. Every minute that the doc goes over the magical 77 perfect doc time
Yep.
of the content is not making me want more of this doc. It means that I'm taking away dollar bills from my giant stack of ones. Or in Canada, our giant stack of loonies. Needless to say, there was a few ones missing by the time I got to the end.
Yeah.
The doc was interesting and fun and uniquely done. Didn't mean to rhyme that, but apparently I did. But it was a little draggy. And it was a little too long.
Yeah.
So, unlike Bryce, I didn't like it a lot. I liked it. Like Murray. It was meh.
There you go. That was like Oscar Harding's, like, that's the most genius thing that
I've ever heard a documentary
right.
filmmaker say.
He's like, 77 minutes. That's a magic number. If
I have
it
yet
goes
to-
over that, it's usually too long.
I have yet to watch a documentary over 90 minutes that I did like. So
There you go.
It takes a lot because, like, what happens, this doc was pretty well constructed in the sense that it got you to the point and moved you along with the story so that you were kind of interested. To Murray's point a little bit, I felt like the wow factor really wasn't there. The creative factor on this was fantastic. I was really wowed by the fact that Alan Cumming could literally lip sync that accurately. Like,
it was
now,
an interesting story, though. It wasn't supposed to wow me. It was just, this was a really interesting dude.
I thought it'd be a bigger scandal. I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, yeah.
It's
What he did wasn't.
How
it
big does it
wasn't
have to
right.
be? It was just an
Oh.
interesting story. I don't understand.
Let's go back in time to the movie we recently watched with Kate Blanchett and Judi Dench.
oh yes,
What was the scandal in that one?
that was a big scandal.
A 30-something teacher had an affair with a 16-year-old boy.
Now that's
a
scandalous.
scandal.
Nah,
They should have done
This
the documentary
was
on
nothing.
that.
This was
Nah,
nothing.
this was good.
This was
It was
this
creative.
This
And it
was
was like a small town in Scotland. Like, who cares?
Well, the
I
people in
care.
Scotland did. And you know what? It was, I would, like, most docs aren't as creative as this.
nope.
They did it really creatively. So
They did it
kudos.
Well, like I said, it wasn't like I hated it. I mean, it was interesting. Just
Yeah.
I wanted more. Like, I wanted something more exciting, and it just
So you wanted, like, Britney Spears.
You wanted the
asks.
true story to be
outlandish.
something else.
It just-
And 77 minutes long.
Not a true
yeah,
story.
and
I
less
don't
than 90
understand.
minutes long.
That's right. 77 minutes is what we
Okay,
Okay,
wanted.
that I understand.
All right.
There you go.
So it It
was
was Satan revisited with 666.
No, we are batting 1,000.
No, we were batting 666 because for rages, Murray. We're talking if we would have all raged on this, we would have batted 1,000 in rage.
I thought you meant we
rages.
all agree on something, which
Yeah.
we never.
What's that about?
What's that about?
This is historically the only episode of our podcast that literally every movie we all agreed on everything.
All right, hit us with it, Mur.
All right.
You know, we need to create a new sound.
Why?
Well, because we've just now created a new thing that's never happened on our podcast. And the button may be only used once every 3 years as the length of our podcast has been. But if we get a show where if we actually either bat evil or we all agree on everything that we've reviewed, we have to have a special button. I don't know what it is. Like maybe the sound of orgasm, maybe it's the sound of wow or something. But you know, this is such an anomaly to our podcast that we all agreed on everything.
All right, well, we can revisit that at some point.
But stay tuned, people. There will be a new sound effect that Film Rage will come up with.
Yeah,
and if you've got ideas, let us know.
Right then. All right, tend to bring it down a little bit. This is not a happy joy moment.
What, Murray? You know what? This music just makes me want to sit by the beach in Scotland.
But I don't have a happy joy this week.
Uh-oh. The Murman Minute's going to bring us down?
A little bit.
Uh-oh.
It was another sad week in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
There were 2 celebrity deaths, both very different. First, the iconic Olivia Newton-John lost her battle with cancer. After fighting through breast cancer twice, came back in her spine. She passed away at the age of 73. Now, she wasn't exactly known for her acting.
No.
Of course, nobody will ever forget her as Sandy in Grease.
That is true.
Oh, she was in Grease?
John Travolta. One of my guilty pleasures
is Grease too.
You guys have seen.
We know.
That's also, but she wasn't in that.
Thank God for her.
Xanadu. Yes, it was a terrible movie.
See, I call Xanadu Xanadon't.
But it had a great soundtrack by her.
Did it?
And Gene Kelly dancing.
That was cool.
And roller skating. Last thing I saw her in was Score, a hockey musical. Remember that? This was a Canadian hockey musical featuring Nelly Furtado and a lot of singing.
Yeah,
and hockey.
Managed to miss that one.
It actually opened the 2010 Calgary International Film Festival.
What?
On 2 screens to a sold-out audience. It was a whole event back when they actually shut the whole street down. It was
Holy frittatas.
Granted, her music wasn't for everyone. I happen to like it. But she did have the voice of an angel.
Like me.
There you go.
Okay.
And then the second blonde bombshell that we lost was Anne Hesh.
Yeah.
This was an even sadder story. She was taken off life support after crashing her car into a house last week and declared brain dead on Friday. She actually had a long battle with mental illness, so she had kind of a rough life. I actually fell in love with Anne on TV when she played twins on the soap Another World in the 90s.
What?
Which she won an Emmy for. Her movie credits include Donnie Brasco, Volcano, Wag the Dog, 6 Days, 7 Nights, the ill-advised Psycho remake,
I'll put that one in my
and
bag.
my personal favorite, Cedar Rapids. No matter what the project was, she was always sensational. She was only 53.
Wow, so young.
I know, it's just sad. That's all I got.
Mur, even when you bring the
I
sad,
know.
you just bring joy to our hearts to remember
I
these
like to be-
fond
I like to be mellow.
actors.
It's been a long day. All right, you guys are up.
Temperature rising. Vision blurring. Rage taking over.
Rage. love you so much. My rage this week is a little bit twisted, I want to admit. I don't know who thought, like, I remember going to movies in the 80s with 20-year-olds, and the whole scene of the slasher. So stick with me on this. But we have slasher films, which used to be Bryce's favorite genre. But, you know, when you went to a slasher film, every single person they put in the movie, even though they were douchey, you still cared about them.
Yeah. Because they were entertaining.
Yeah, they were still entertaining. They all had individual personalities that were actually even just a little bit likable. Even sometimes they'd have like a douchebag that was kind of mean, but you know, you kind of didn't like him because he was the mean guy, but you knew he had to be in the movie because it had to fill every those pieces.
Bill Paxton.
What is going on with our films these days? We saw 2 movies with 20-year-olds in it, or people portraying 20, because I don't think Pete Davidson's 20. But how they're putting 20-year-olds in 2 movies we saw this week, the only movies we saw in cinema that weren't documentaries, and every one of the characters were unlikable. Like, can we have 20-year-olds that are likable? That's what I want. That's my rage this week. Because, like, next week, we're going to see Prey with Casey, the nerdy photographer. And we know there's a few 20-year-olds in there, and I have a feeling they're not going to be nearly as annoying as these people. That's my rage.
All right.
You on board with this? You kind of...
My rage is similar to your rage.
Oh, okay, well, let's wind... I'm just trying to wind you up. Can we get some emotion out of you? There's like, you put a...
Oh, he has to wait for his music.
You put a wet sponge on my testicles. You've kind of just mooshed me out. Is that even a word? I'm now saying you're seeming mushy. You're a little.
It's similar.
You're a little mushy right now. Murray, was he mushy? Am I right?
Yeah,
is he mushy?
was a little melancholy.
Maybe
it's mushy. Your word's mushy. That's what you are.
Smushy.
Smushy's better. I like it more.
All right.
All right. My rage is films should either make me care about the characters or hate the characters. If they have me indifferent to the characters, then the writing has failed. I was indifferent to the characters in Bodies, and Fall. Could not care less about any of them, and that is bad writing. And that is my rage.
Is it just the bad writing, or is it also bad direction? Like, we can't just throw the writer on the bus.
I think it's bad writing.
Because the director should be able to pull out characters that you care for.
The dialogue's the dialogue, and the actors are the. I don't know. With what they're saying, they could not have made them any more appealing.
It's the deadly trifecta of bad writing, terrible acting, and just.
But the acting wasn't.
It wasn't terrible.
No, it was bad.
It was just meh. Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, stop it. Like,
no, I'm throwing the writer under the bus.
All right.
You can sit there and try to...
You know what?
You can spread the blame around if you want, Jim, but...
Who am I to argue? This is your rage.
Yeah. Don't you forget it, mister.
And seeing as how you're pretty smooshy this week.
Smooshy.
Yeah, smooshy. I don't even know what that... You know what? That may be our sound. We have to find the sound of smoosh.
Smoochy?
Or... We haven't started Slap Club yet.
I've changed my rage. My rage is that Jim won't stop saying smushy.
Okay, I forgot to bring that up.
What?
I thought you might have enjoyed Bodies, because they had they had a Slap Club.
They did have Slap Club. Actually,
they did have Slap
I want to
Club.
take back the things I liked about that movie. That was the thing I liked the most about this. It motivated me to say, Bryce, we need to start up Slap Club. Once you move into the basement of your new place, we're starting up Slap Club.
All right.
Stay tuned, Ragers. We're going to have some YouTube footage of our first Slap Club.
I think so.
It's coming.
Rage subsiding. Pulse slowing. Anger fading.
Howdy, I'm Casey, the host of the Nerdy Photographer Podcast. Are you curious about photography? Perhaps you run a creative-minded business. then you'll want to tune into the Nerdy Photographer Podcast. Episodes feature stimulating interviews and discussions, as well as a little bit of totally useless information, all set inside the frame of a science fiction comic book adventure. So what are you waiting for? Adventure awaits. Head over to nerdyphotographer.com or find the Nerdy Photographer Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
And you're going to get to hear more Nerdy Photographer coming up because
all Casey,
Casey, all episode next week, people. Film Rage is going to be taking a little bit of we just got our Casey-gasm on, and you are going to love this episode. Now, if this is the first time you're listening to us, first off, thank you for joining us. We don't necessarily rage every week, but when we do, it's a joyful experience for all. We have a segment on our show called The Lists. And on it, we are either talking about actors and actresses or just actors as a term. We have 4 categories. We have the undoubted, we have the mesmerized, we have the undoubted, and we have the doubted. And the repulsive. Sorry, did I say that too many? Undoubted, mesmerized, doubted, and repulsive.
Okay, that's fine.
We got it. I got it right this time?
Well, yeah,
Ish.
I'm not
Go
sure
to
what
the website.
I would go, we've got the undoubted,
And the doubted.
the doubted,
And the mesmerizing.
the mesmerizing,
And the repulsive.
and the repulsive.
Because they kind of fit together, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, that was good. See, even in your smushy little voice, you made that sounding really good.
Stop saying smushy.
So this week, unless anyone wants to
Slap
put
Club
any,
might start early.
yes, I've been waiting for Slap Club for so long. My face just is missing a good slapping. So we've been working on our mesmerized list because apparently we put way too many people on it.
It's a long
And we
list.
know that can't be true. And we've seen from the last few weeks, we've been removing people left, right, and center.
Yep.
So this week, we have a bit of a challenge.
Do we?
We do, actually, because first off, we've been brought forward Boogie Nights, who has William H. Macy
It did.
versus Phillip Seymour Hoffman versus Philip Baker Hall. The challenge we have, though, is Philip Baker Hall is not in this for 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
unfortunately,
I thought he was.
No, he was
No,
not.
he wasn't.
He was not.
Was it 4.44?
It wasn't even close.
Pretty damn close.
No, he was not in it for 5 minutes.
Remember him in at least 2 scenes.
So he was, but those
He was,
those
but-
scenes were only about a minute and a half.
Yeah.
When I timed it originally, he didn't even get to 4. So unfortunately, Philip Baker Hall is off the map. So we are down to just 2.
Yes.
And Murray, did you get a chance to see it?
I've
Again.
seen it like 10 times. I have to watch it again.
Well, because you have to be right on your thoughts about who is more mesmerizing.
Believe me, I remember the movie.
Okay. So do we want to write it down? Because 3 of us are this week?
I don't think it matters. We can just.
Okay.
But nobody's gonna be lying here. I just like to say
Yes.
that I remember this movie being better than it is.
Yes, I also remember that.
I remember this being like, I don't want to say a masterpiece, but I was blown away by it when I
Yeah.
first watched it. And now I've watched it again and I was like, what was I blown away by? I mean,
Wasn't it one of the Anderson movies?
It's PT.
It's P.T. Anderson.
He's
And
undoubted.
yeah.
Go.
And,
We might have to revisit PT
well,
Anderson.
I think, I can't imagine he's
This
got
is-
back-to-back
I still think it was a
meds
great
on it,
movie.
but
Yeah,
it was good.
yeah.
I mean,
It wasn't
keep-
great.
Keep in mind that Marky Mark was the lead actor. So, I mean,
He did adequately in
he
this,
was
actually.
adequate.
That's
but
the
I
thing.
mean,
Everybody was adequate in it. I remember the only person that I loved in this movie was Alfred Molina.
Oh, no, there was
Yeah,
someone in this
no.
I love more than Alfred
come on,
Molina.
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds was pretty
Awesome.
good.
It was the best role he ever had.
Don Cheadle was also
Yeah. He was
really, really good. But I thought Alfred Molina was
John,
the best thing in
John
it.
C. was all right, too.
No.
John C. was good.
Okay, so of our 2, let's count it down.
Now, well, okay. We'll go all of our 2, and then I guess there'll be further discussion.
Yes.
Probably.
So 3, 2, 1. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
William H. Macy.
Okay.
Okay, well,
It was far better.
like it was, to me, it was like no contest. Like
Not-
every time there was a scene, it didn't matter if Philip Seymour Hoffman
He didn't
was,
even have to be saying anything.
he was saying nothing. There were
Yeah.
scenes where Mark Wahlberg was talking and Philip Seymour Hoffman was behind him.
Yeah.
And I was like, I couldn't take my eyes. Like, I've never seen Philip Seymour Hoffman better. And I literally talked about him the other week.
Don't know that I'd
and
say that. But
No, he was
very good.
He was incredible in this. Every single scene he was in, I couldn't look at anybody else. He would just steal the scene from anybody. Plus,
Yep.
this is a complete departure from the Philip Seymour Hoffman of the dude who's like
He's not
powerful dude guy.
Yeah.
He plays in a lot of roles. This was such a departure. This was acting that was beyond anything that he could have done. This was by far his best role I've seen him in.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't like
by
him.
far.
I liked him a lot.
Well, but did you not like the character, or did you not like how he was doing?
Either.
Because the fact that he was doing this the way he was doing it
When I
made
thought
you have
about
emotions
both
about him.
actors, Macy's performance to me was just, it was a lot more.
I thought Macy
there.
was
the guy from Fargo.
Yeah,
No, he wasn't.
It was
the guy.
he basically has that weaselly
it was
little.
it was a paint by numbers William H.
Macy performance.
Yeah, and it was fine, and
thought
he
he
was
was
good.
better.
He did a good job of it. I agree.
Yeah.
I thought he was better.
All right.
Well, I
Now-
guess no
now-
one's leaving now for
Now-
that.
Now, unfortunately, well, I don't know. You brought up Don Cheadle,
Yeah. So
but I don't think he was better than Philip Seymour Hoffman. I think that he had some great lines.
okay. So for the things.
And
Okay. So I do have a few things I have to say specifically about Don Cheadle in this.
All right.
This is hi-fi. Okay.
High fidelity.
High fidelity. You know what that means? That means it's the highest quality fidelity.
Yeah.
Hi-fi. These are two very important things in a stereo system.
Absolutely.
Or his other just as great line,
Yeah.
it makes you freaky deaky.
It does make you freaky deaky.
Don Cheadle was
And then he-
golden in this.
He
And then
was absolutely
And then he puts
gold.
on the country music.
Yes. But I loved his identity through the movie.
He's a
Oh,
black
yeah.
guy in California wearing a cowboy outfit
Yes.
Yeah, the fact
in
that
the 70s.
He's got to be him, man.
yeah, he was. You know what? The more I think about it, yes. You know what I thought was this was a little too long.
Yeah.
That's what I think it dragged out. But the character developments in this, it's so PT. Like the
is.
characters were so well defined and
there's-
so developed. Every single character was so
And
developed.
it's a good movie. It's a very good movie. I just remember it being better. That's all.
Well,
I'm
because it
saying.
was the first time
It's
you saw it.
dated, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very dated. I agree, Mur. And it's you know what? You can't once you've seen a movie and been brought to a level you've never seen up until that point of the character developments we saw, you can't go back from there. But when you go back and watch it and you say to yourself, okay, I've seen so many other movies past that kind of have shown just as well, and it's a tighter film. And especially with his, like compare this to Licorice Pizza.
Right.
Right? It's like you can't now because,
No.
but at the time, you have to go think of it when you saw it the first time in cinemas and you went, holy fuck, this is blowing my mind.
Yeah.
Right? And in Mur's case, it was like he was having so much Murgasm over his love, his man
Reynolds.
crush, Burt
That's right,
Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, Burt Reynolds was good.
He was really good.
One thing would have made it better if he was driving the Trans Am.
You know what?
don't
He
think
was.
that
Didn't he
would've
have
made
a
it
Corvette? He had a Corvette.
No,
didn't
he
he?
didn't
No,
have
that
a
was the
Corvette.
young
That
ones.
Oh, those are young bucks.
He was the guy in the limo because he was rich.
Oh right, he had money.
All right, so
Money.
nobody's eliminated, and that's that.
And so, Mur, do you have anybody? Oh, do you have anybody for us this week, Mur?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, please tell.
What do you
Well,
got?
since we poo-pooed all over Philip Baker Hall,
Yes.
I found one with Philip Baker Hall.
We didn't poo-poo.
And I
What?
guarantee you, he's in it longer than 5 minutes.
Excellent.
Bad Words.
Oh wow, I
With
love bad words.
Allison Janney, who I checked is on our list.
Allison Janney is on our list, and I freaking love bad words.
And they both have about the same amount of screen time.
I am looking forward to watching this again. Although that little kid in Bad Words, he might just knock everybody out.
He might actually knock everybody out. Yeah, I would
You can
actually.
pronounce his name, you'll put him on the list.
I could. He was so good.
Yeah, he was cute.
He was
more than cute.
He's more than cute.
That is a powerhouse performance.
Yeah, I want to now. I want to go back and find out what else he did, but we'll talk about that next week.
I've kind of had a
obviously.
Jason Bateman crush since the 80s, but
Yeah, I'm a
everything
big
he
fan of. You know, he's kind of played that pigeonhole
not to mention
role too.
Catherine Hahn, who is always funny.
Yes,
That was a good movie.
very nice. Well, is there anybody else you want to put on for this week?
No.
On anything? Take anybody off? Anybody get repulsed by any of the actors? I think it was if it was Murray, it's not going to make it, but Murray might have thrown. He's not a big fan of our crush from the first movie, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Oh,
not a
yes.
Pete Davidson
You're
fan.
right. I am not.
But
He
I
should be
love
on the
him.
list just on the basis of who he dated.
Oh, there you go.
Why would I care who he dated?
Saying.
I don't
Isn't
even,
he dates
plus
a lot
I-
of famous people.
I don't know
Well,
who
his
he did.
most recent was one of the Kardashians.
Oh, good for him.
Then she dumped his ass.
Poor Pete.
And then what's his name basically threatened to kill him.
Oh,
I don't
there's
care.
there's drama
What
around
was his
Pete
name?
Davidson.
Kanye?
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody.
I don't
Yeah.
care.
Just saying. And he also showed up on one of my favorite shows, and I didn't like him on that either. So
What? Pete Davidson?
yeah. I
Oh,
don't find him funny at all.
I like him. He's weird.
Yeah.
He's weird.
Anyway. All right then.
I'm not sure how many times I've said it, but I will say it again. As usual, Bryce, also known as the 160-pound baby, whined about the fact that he had to go it alone. He also thought he would make a better choice and choose from our listeners' dare bag. Now here's the funny part. He officially chose the lowest scoring film from IMDb to ever appear in Rage or Dare. It was a 1.9. Now that is funny. This week, Jim gets to choose to rage or dare. But now let's check in with Babyman Bryce and see if the 2008 Paris Hilton film, The Hottie and the Nottie, is as scorching as hydrogen atoms in an excited state, or will it leave us lukewarm? That's hot.
That's so good.
That's hot.
That's hot. That's hot.
Okay.
Somebody else who contributes nothing to society.
Paris taught me how to cook.
Did she?
Whatever.
She has a show. Used to have a show on Netflix called Cooking with Paris. It's awesome.
Was it awesome?
Sorry, it's hot.
Is it
Sure.
hot?
Yeah.
Whatevs.
Yeah. I don't.
Whatevs.
So, The Hottie and the Nottie was not the best film I've ever seen,
What?
The hell you say?
but it's also not the worst. Although there is a tremendous amount of bad within its 91-minute runtime, Paris Hilton is a terrible actor. This cannot be debated. Everyone in this are terrible actors. This is also true except for the two leads who did the best with the material they were given. Joel David Moore as Nate Cooper and Christine Lacken as June Figg actually elevate the script. At the time, these were two young, talented actors that happened to be in a really bad movie. This movie was written so badly with lines like, "A life without orgasms is like a world without flowers," or "I love midget mimes." Yet somehow, Moore and Lacken made it almost watchable. Although not almost watchable enough to make this anything but a rage. I'm serious though. These are two actors that were in a bad movie. They're at the beginning of their careers, and there is just something there that it kind of made it watchable, because you're like, wow, I want to see these two in a movie that's not poorly written and not poorly acted and not poorly directed and not poorly edited. It would be nice to see that. And you know what? In the future, you do get to see them in other stuff.
Yeah.
And especially, now his name's left me, especially Joel David Moore. He's been a very good character actor for the last 10 years. And this is kind of where it started. And
It's kind of funny, hey? Like, it was like, because even at the time, I bet this, what did we say? This actually did not too bad in the cinemas
no, it did
internationally.
internationally.
Yeah,
yes.
but in
it
North
bombed
America,
in North
yeah.
America.
But obviously Paris is a little bit more popular internationally than
Yes.
she may be in her hometown.
But yeah, no, as I say, watching those two was it was almost entertaining, but
Almost.
but the movie's
Isn't-
bad, and oh god, Paris Hilton is terrible.
Is she,
I don't even.
is she hot?
Well, she never has been. I've never got that. I
Ah.
don't think that she's attractive at all. I don't want to be the judgy guy that's saying, "Oh, you're pretty, you're not," but she's not. I don't.
She's a naughty.
She's a naughty.
She's
definitely
the naughty. In
There
that
you
She's
go.
movie,
definitely
yeah.
naughty.
This sounds like it was a journey worth going on.
You know what?
Did it deserve
I
its
would-
1.9 or should it have had a
I think it
2.9?
I think it should have been slightly higher than that. It was still a rage.
So 2,
2.2.
2.2.
I would have given it a 2.2 out of 10.
Well, see, you can't do that on IMDb. You have to give it an even number. So what is the even number? Is it a 2?
It's 2.2.
You can't do a 2.2.
Oh,
It's an
not
average.
It's not a 2.27.
It's an average. It's an
a
average.
2.2.
It's a 2 or a 3,
Well, I guess if it's a 2.2, it's a 2, but
rounding down.
depends on how I'm feeling that day. It might be a 3.
Okay. All right.
Maybe I should watch it again.
I think
I'll give you my official
I'm gonna-
IMDb rating,
I'm
but
gonna.
I'll have to watch it
I'm
again
gonna-
and take some more notes.
Was there a part 2 on this?
the Hottie and the Nottie 2?
2?
I don't believe there was.
I wish there was. Huh.
But Paris Hilton is not a good actress.
She's a naughty.
She's terrible.
Poor Paris.
So there you go.
She taught me how to cook, though. So,
So
that's the
are
important
you
part.
serious? It's you that's picking this week?
Yes.
It's not me?
I am picking, but
Okay, this is like
my-
the first time in like a year.
Yes, it's true. Bryce has never not picked. I get it. And my pick is going to be held to a future date because we're having a special episode next week with Casey, the nerdy photographer, who is going to dare us to see something for the next episode where we come back.
This is all very confusing.
It's very confusing,
Okay,
so
so
stay
just-
tuned for the drama. I'm going to pick
so
this.
next week you're not going to be talking about this because it's going to be the special Casey episode.
That's correct. Well,
and
next
the week after, we're actually going to be doing the Casey Dare. So then it's
Yes.
going to be the week after that.
that is correct.
So it's going to be 3 weeks from now when you're actually nobody's going to remember.
That's true. Yep.
Better do
But
your job
I'll
on
have it
social
carved.
media and
I'll have it
do
carved in science.
do the DMs and
That's
the
right.
FGs and,
And Casey's,
the pictograms and the
yeah, the stuff.
the whatever.
Teletubbies, right? Exactly. I'm going to be Teletubbying it up. There's a lot of
And
rages in this
and
bag.
the
by the way.
tweeters and the
Tweeter and the Monkey Man.
and the what else is it? The Insta
Instapotty. Instapotty? Instapot.
Instapods.
It's Instapot. It's a thing. People cook with it.
sounds
Just
about
like
right.
Paris, it's Instapot.
All right.
On the
And
Instapot,
the Twittergrams.
that's the right. The Twitter. That sounds like
Tweety
sounds,
birds.
sounds like a cookie, right? The Twittergrams,
Yeah.
like Teddygrams, but Twittergrams.
So what'd you pick?
I picked
Where
the
did you
date
pick it?
movie. I picked it from the dare bag.
Oh.
I am going to be watching Date Movie.
No,
Yeah, I am.
that's not.
All right.
I don't think that's bad enough. It's pretty
Well, I
bad.
don't know. It's a parody of date movies.
Yeah,
So-
those movies are going to
And
be.
you know how much Jim loves his rom-coms.
I do love the
It's
rom-coms.
making fun of the rom-coms,
Yeah,
It is
probably
kinda.
not
just
well.
like Jim does.
I do that.
So
And
it's probably like custom made for you.
I may actually give this one a Mondo.
It's probably the best
go.
movie you're going to see all year.
Could possibly be. So I will be watching Date Movie in a coming episode. Don't you worry, my
I might
friends.
find it on
future.
TV. I might watch it too.
Oh, well, have Murray over. We'll have a popcorn party.
Everybody watch Date Movie. Except
That's right.
For me.
Murray and I will have a date
And Bryce is going
To
to watch
watch-
Hottie or the Nottie again.
2.0.
I might.
Maybe.
It's
Sounds
possible.
like a fun time.
You know what?
Wasn't that bad.
This has been a fun time, I can tell you that. Well, thanks, Ragers, for listening. Thanks to the extended Film Rage family, who you can find in our show notes. Thanks to the fantastic, fabulous, and super awesome Casey from the Nerdy Photographer, the voice of Rage or Dare. Find us on social media everywhere at Film Rage YYC. Check out everything Film Rage at filmrageyyc.com, including our merch site for Redbubble and TeePublic. We are always wanting to make this a raging blast for all listeners, so please comment, like, and subscribe, and send us emails to filmragecalgary@gmail.com. Dare us to see terrible movies to fuel our rage, but no matter what you do, you want to make us rage. Please, 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 please. That's it for this week. Rage on.
Rage on.